And we are live. Look, you are live, it says on the screen. Hello, Sian.
Hi.
Hi. So this is I was gonna say meet the distiller. It's not, you're not a distiller, are you, Sian? You're not making gin.
No. I wish I was. I could try. I could probably put my hand to it, but I don't know how good I'd be.
Yeah, I reckon between us, I mean, there might be a business there, right? We could. So this is part of meeting a different business owner every day during June, and usually it happens at 9:30 in the morning. And Sian and I were like, let's drink gin and do it in the evening, which is something I've been doing a lot of recently. So this is perfectly natural. So hello, so we are live on Kate Carner UK page, on Sorted, Sian, on your page. Yes, we did it. The Marketing SOS group, and on YouTube. So awesome. And you have your gin in your hand ready, don't you? You're already started yours.
I have, afraid so. Couldn't wait, I'm afraid. Too eager.
I had to deal with small naked children, but I am going to make. Oh, okay, we make fine. So hello, so Sian, introduce whilst I pour this beast. Could you introduce yourself for us, for those that don't know you?
Yeah, sure. So hello everybody, I'm Sian and I run Sorted, which is I'm a professional declutterer and organizer for homes and offices, basically. So I go in and I help people with their spaces.
I just want you to do my life, basically.
Yeah, I do that for people.
When you say that, so a professional, I have never heard of a professional declutterer and organizer. So what do you actually do? How does this magic that you create work? What happens?
Oh, well, you know, there are actually quite a few of us out there. When I'm not a standalone person, so there are others. There are others of me. I know I won't say anything about them. And I am a member of APTO, which this is going to be a real tongue twister for you. Okay. The Association of Professional Declutterers and Organisers. See if you can say that one when you piss. That's a good one. Yeah.
Who would know there is not only, I mean, I didn't know it was a thing, and then I certainly didn't know there was an association with it. So how long have you been professionally? I love it. I love it. I'm not
people's lives.
I tell you what, I'm not letting you look around this room. I'm keeping the camera very centrally focused. So how long have you been? Oh, first of all, cheers, lovely. I know we're both drinking the same gin tonight, aren't we? Cheers.
We are, yeah. Cheers.
And that is very, very strong.
Juniper berries in mine. I don't know about you. Although I don't know why I did that, because that's kind of. It's going a bit snazzy, and the thing that annoys me about that is I end up putting them in my mouth and then spitting them back out. So it's like, I don't know why I bother sometimes. Just makes it look pretty.
Yeah, I had a gin yesterday. Yesterday before, the Dartmouth gin. Dartmouth English gin, and they say lime and cardamom. So I did, and obviously cardamom, like pods or seeds, who knows? Who cares? Cardamom in my mouth, and I'm like a small bit of cardamom not required. So yeah, a chunky slice of frozen orange is my choice. So cheers.
Frozen. Cheers. Yeah, no, I went fresh, but yeah, it's good. It's good.
So we can talk about gin all night. I've got a feeling who cares what the question was. So how long? I need to know how long you've been doing it. I kind of like I want to hear the creds. I want you to tell me what it is and how long you've been doing it. Like, give me an example. Walk me through it, because I have no idea what it is, and I love it.
Okay. So, all right. So decluttering and organising can be a number of things, but for me, it's helping someone with some part of their space, their environment, that is really pissing them off or upsetting them or making it very difficult for them to carry on and lead a normal life. So for some people, that is things like paperwork. So it could be they've just got tons of paperwork around the house, and it really bothers them because they just don't know what to do with it, how to organise it, how to sort it, or put a system in place that actually works to make it easier to manage for them. So they're not constantly going, oh, I need to be doing that, I need to be doing that. For others, it could be things like, you know, a wardrobe. So it might be that they've just got tons of clothes. They don't actually know what they've got in their wardrobe. It doesn't work for them, and they need the space to work better. It could be a room, so like a kitchen, for instance. If you've moved into a house and you've just shoved all your boxes, straight in the cupboards and gone, I'll sort that out later, and then 3 years later down the line you still haven't done it. So it's yeah, there's a lot of people like that. But I work in 2 ways. So I do consultations, which are basically for those people that actually want to do it themselves. They don't really need my help to do it physically. They want to do it themselves, but they just don't know where to start. They're not quite sure, what sort of storage systems they could use, or processes really that would help them to sort of get it on track and just get started and then get on with it. And then I do the hands-on help as well, where I'm physically involved and I'm on site working with somebody to really go through everything and just get it sorted, literally.
So you're basically a therapist, because this to me sounds like.
Do you know, it's funny you say that, actually. It's funny you say that. I'm not a trained therapist in that sense, but yes, it does have a therapeutic element to it, because there is, I help people sort of think about their space in a different way, and it's about changing processes and changing mindset and changing habits which have become bad habits to something that's good. So yeah, and it can be quite quickly done as well.
This is over Christmas. Sian, another lady called Sian, has said, "Okay, Sian, frozen orange inspired. Oh, I freeze all of my fruit, and then if I can be bothered, I also put a fresh bit in and squeeze it." But as this lovely lady Sian here well knows, I was legging it up the stairs and still sorting things out a few minutes ago. At Christmas, when we could have people sleep over, you remember those times when people could stay at your house?
Well, vaguely, but yeah, just
vaguely, like a long time ago. So we had my sister-in-law stay for 4 weeks. 4 weeks. I love her a lot, but she was in a post-op recovery situation, and I remember she sat on our bed, and she sat on the bed with playing with the kids, and she looked at my wardrobe and she went, "Is that your wardrobe?" Now our room is currently demolished. You would hate it. It's demolished. Whilst we rip it out, but she looked at our wardrobe and went, "Are they your hangers?" I was like, "Yeah." And she enlightened me. She bought me 100 skinny hangers with the things facing the right way, and they arrived the next day, and then we did it and we color coordinated it. I mean, it's not there now, and it was like quite therapeutic. It was a relief. It was a sense of, why haven't I done that before? Which I guess is the sort of thing that you see quite a lot. Why didn't I do this sooner? Sort of feeling.
It's a very common phrase. I wish I'd done that. I should have done that earlier. I should have done that before. Why didn't I do it? And it's a lot of the time it's not because you can't do it. It's just you haven't been able to find the time to do it, or you haven't been able to focus your mind on it, or it's not been the right time to actually focus on it. So there's no point in beating yourself up if you haven't had a chance to get to that point yet, and you do want to do it, because it's not going to do you any favors. But what you can do is either focus on it or get someone in to help you with it.
And what is the motivator that you have people have to do it? Like, what is the thing that makes them go, "Do you know what? I finally realised I need to make that call to you, or I need to get you in, or I need to have that consultation." What point are they at? Are they just pissed off? Are they like, that bit of paperwork that's sat on the floor like those invoices that I'm not sent? Just they're sick of seeing them. What is it? What is the kind of psychological reason? Which is why
I think it is that build-up. It's the build-up of, I've been looking at this now for so long, and it is driving me nuts. And I just can't. But because they've been looking at it for so long, it's built and built and built and built and built to the point where they just kind of go, I honestly don't know where to start. I just don't know where to start, and so they don't. And that's the problem, is that people sort of go, "I've no idea. It's massive, this. Look at the size of the room. Oh my God, look at everything." And then they walk out into the hallway and go, "Oh, look, there's that room as well. And then I need to do that. And then I've got to, oh, right, okay, it's too much. Can't do it. Can't cope."
They feel overwhelmed. Yeah, that sense of overwhelmed, and therefore I'm just not gonna start doing it at all. And we did. So we moved into our house and we completely we gutted the kitchen and whatnot. And when we put the new kitchen in, I was still like, let's just put the same shit in random places, which my husband hates. And in was the end of last year, just before Christmas, I took everything out the cupboards, and it was again so therapeutic. I had a gin, I had the music on very loud. I was like, get out, all the products from 2012 and all that sort of stuff that you find, this spice and that. So what's your dream project? What's your ideal, when a client rings you and you go, yes, I'll have one of them, that's perfect?
That's a good question.
Ooh.
That's a really good question, because I don't do I have a dream project?
Like a whole house? Do you want someone to come in and then go, fuck, I don't know what I'm doing with this house, like it's like a hoarder? Do you want to go to a hoarder's house?
No, I don't. No, I'll be honest. Hoarding is not my specialism. It's I can deal with the house, no problem, but there's a very particular way that you have to work with hoarding people that have hoarding tendencies, and it is very psychological. And although I'm really interested in the psychological element of decluttering and organising, the benefits it all has and everything else, I'm not a psychologist, I'm not trained in hoarders, and I don't really want to go down that way. I like being with the people that just sort of, is your Joe public, I suppose, that just has a house, that, a busy working life, a family, and they just need help sort of getting some things in order. I mean, I do work with clients that are borderline hoarders, but the difference between them is that they understand that so a hoarder is somebody that that can't let go of something. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be a piece of rubbish, and they can't let go of it because they think something bad's going to happen if they do. So they hold on to it and hold on to it, and they keep building up and building up and building up and building up. And it's very difficult for them to let go, because there's a negative connotation with letting go of things. So they can't do that. So predominantly that's what how a hoarder tends to be perceived. So that's how they come across. But there are people that I've worked with that have, maybe they've downsized, and they've just been, because they've downsized because they've been through bereavement. So there's been a death in the family, and they've downsized because of that, and they've been left with loads of stuff, and they just don't know what to do with it, or how to get through it, but they know it needs to go in some way, and so I can work with people like that. That's kind of the borderline that I sort of sit at the top of. But I work with parents that just are really struggling because they've got young kids, or because they've got a small house and there's quite a big family in there, and they just don't, they're not quite sure how to arrange the space so it works better for them. I work with single parents a lot that have are struggling because they're doing everything on their own, and they just need that extra support and just sort of getting on top of things. And then I work with businesses as well, so small businesses mainly, but that just need some help rearranging, getting their office into a solution that works, where it works for them in order to be able to grow the business, which is actually what I set up for in the first place. I started out thinking, I want to go and work with small businesses because I want to help them, because small businesses are the ones that really need that support, because they're so focused on trying to grow their business that they don't necessarily look at the systems within their surroundings, or even how their office is laid out to make it work best for them and their growth. So I thought, right, great, I'll go into businesses, because I am a small business anyway. I know how it works, I know how it feels, I know what they need. And then the first couple of clients were businesses, and then really quickly I started getting inquiries from people that want me to come into their homes, and I was like, well, all right then, let's go into homes. And so that's where the majority of my work is at the moment, or was until lockdown. So
so what I just love then is the phrase border hoarder. I like, I kind of might work with border hoarders. Love it. I've never heard that phrase before, and I didn't know that from a psychological perspective, the negative association with keeping something for hoarders.
Yeah.
I assumed, I've never given it any thought really, but assumed it was because they love it so much or they want it, but actually it's a if it's taken away from me, it has a negative impact in some part of my life and my feelings.
And so yeah, so that's one element of it. I mean, there are people that obviously really struggle, with just letting go in general, and that's, you know, and that's not necessarily because they think something bad's going to happen. It's just that they can't physically let go of things. They find it really difficult, and usually it's because of something negative that's happened earlier on, either really early on in their life or later on in life, that's been quite a big dramatical change to how they're living their life. And that's usually the way it is. But that's where you really need professional help to get those people back on track and to help them out properly.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, and that's just not, that's not what I do.
No, so we know which projects
we
know which projects we are not taking, and your house. And I think the people that used to own this house, he had 10,000 books in the loft across the whole of the
how are the walls then? Did they cope all right? The strain of the weight.
Don't 10,000 books is only one of his things. He had backpacks that he bought from the army. Random places full of crap. So you've been going into people's houses, or pre-lockdown, you know, when we could go into people's houses, and when you talk about processes, looking at people's processes, what do you mean by processes, either for the individual or for the business? When you say, you know, they might not have processes in place, what do you mean by that?
So it might be, so for instance, if we look at paperwork, you know, a lot of people sort of come in and they might pick up their the letters that come through the post in the day. They look at them, they go, right, I'll deal with that later, put them in a pile. Then they'll go to somewhere else and they've brought some stuff in with them in their little bag from work. They've brought some stuff in, they've gone and opened that up, and they've gone, oh, there's all these paperwork here, I'm just going to put that over here. And then and this is a trait that they have, that they regularly do, you know, and then they go, oh, I need to sort through that. I'll just put that on that pile over there, and then I'll move that pile over to there. And so it's about helping them set up a system in place that where they don't do that. So it's about saying, for instance, you know, when you pick up your post, you open it, you assess what it is, you immediately get rid of the stuff that actually you don't need to deal with, or don't need, like the rubbish and the adverts and anything else that you decided that isn't suitable. And then you immediately go to an area that you have your paperwork stored. You don't have to file it all then and there. You just need to put it there in a particular order that you can file at a later stage. So for instance, I don't do filing every day. Drives me nuts. I mean, I love filing, but I'm not about to sit there and work through all my paperwork, you know, every single day. I've got other things that I need to be doing through the day, and paperwork isn't one of them every single day. So I put it in a file ready to be then properly filed later. So I know where it all is. So everything is in one place and it's all there. And then I can then, at the end of the month, or whatever day it is that I've chosen to go through all that stuff, then I can then pull it out and quickly go through it and then file it away as I need to. So it's just sort of, it's teaching people, you know, and also looking around the house and working out where that place is, because some people go, well, it would be on my desk in my home office, and other people say, well, that's not where I put my stuff. I put it on my kitchen table, or because I haven't got an office, or, you know what I mean? So it's just finding that space. And the way that I do that is just by talking to them and really listening to what, you know, what their daily routine is, what bothers them, what they really find exciting, and what gets them excited and keeps them going. And we just play on that and we work on it.
And I guess what you're actually dealing with is behavioural change.
Pardon?
You're actually dealing with is behavioural change. Is the individual having to make those changes. So one thing being the tool that helps them, the pile and whatnot, but actually the habits that they're creating, that they've created for donkey's years. And I was pointing at the door because I was laughing at what he said about walking in with the post and putting it there, and then getting to manufacture and putting it there. And I like, well, I'll just my husband to put his head in the door and be like, does this sound familiar? And I'm pretty rubbish as well. Between us, we're not the best at doing that. So going to people's houses, helping them with those processes. How long do you spend with clients? You know, is it you go in, you see them for an hour and you're done? Is it over the period of weeks? Is it?
Oh, it depends. And to be honest, I mean, it's not all necessarily about processes. Sometimes it's just about organising. You know, they have quite a lot of processes already in place. They just haven't been able to keep on top of it for whatever reason. They just need me to go in and help them just get it back on track. But it really varies. So, you know, that I have some clients that I see regularly. I go in regularly. It's an ongoing project because whilst they could do it themselves, they just don't want to. They don't want to, or they physically can't. So that, and then there are other projects that are literally just one-offs. So it could be a wardrobe session, for instance, where I'll probably go into that client. I might spend 4 hours going through the wardrobe, rearranging it, pulling it out, walking them through it, and setting it up so that it's better for them. And we'll declutter it at the same time. And then they can see what they've got, they can see what they need, and then they don't need me anymore because it's done, job's done, and that's perfectly fine for me. The end goal for me is actually just creating something that works for that person that they can then continue moving forward. And if they still, I mean, nothing will ever be perfect. Everybody has to understand this. There will never be a perfect home, unfortunately. And even the ones that look perfect, they're not perfect, I can guarantee. You know, there is always something that needs to be dealt with or looked at or just generally sort of worked on, I suppose. And so it just depends on the client as to how much time I spend with them, how much time they want me to spend with them, and how much time they need me to spend with them. So, you know, I go with the flow, really. I sort of set an amount of time. I know roughly how long it would take for me to work it on something once I've seen it. But it very much depends on the person, because if they take a lot of time over things, you know, if they sit and dwell on things, then obviously that's going to take a lot longer to get through something than it would do if they were just going yes, no, right, out the door. You know what I mean? And it's sort of, and I do have clients that are like that, but I will always try and sort of prompt them to keep going. So I won't ever let them sit there and go for half an hour. Oh, look at that photograph. Do you remember? I need to tell you about this time. And I'll be like, you know, that's great. You can tell me about that, but let's put that one aside and move on to the next one. So I'll keep them going. And that's where a lot of people struggle. You know, they sort of start, especially when it's something that's of, you know, a memorable artifact or something that's got some meaning to them. They'll sit and they'll start to go through it. Photographs are a big one, for instance. They'll start going through the photographs and they'll sit there and literally every single one, if they were on their own, they'd be sat there for 15 minutes dwelling on one photograph before they can move on. So you need, sometimes those kind of people need somebody sat there going, right, we're going to say yes, no. Do you know who that person is? Yes, great. Okay. Do you still like them? Yes. Do you want them in your life, in your photographs? Yes, great. That's a keeper. Let's move on to the next one. So I sound like I push them into going full steam, but it's not. It is actually quite a gradual process a lot of the time, but they need sort of moving. That's the best way to.
Honestly, this sounds like me working with my husband. I'm pretty ruthless, to be honest. I will go, you know, bin stuff pretty quickly, burn it, recycle it, whatever. And he'll say to me, "Do you know what that picture is or that book?" And he won't let me get rid of books. And I'm like, "But they're bloody books." I think he's still got the spirit of the guy that used to live here.
Books are a funny one because a lot of books, because they're so tactile. And I like books. I like to hold a book in my hand and read it properly. I'm not a Kindle person. Yeah. So, you know, I would quite often find when I'm going into clients that have books that they struggle and it's with books because it's such a tactile thing and it brings back a lot of memories a lot of the time. But there are certain questions that you should ask yourself when you're picking up your books and you're looking through your books. You should go through them quite regularly, because I think it's important to make sure that actually you're keeping the books that you really want to keep and not just books for the hell of it.
Yes, that's my point as well. Yes, we've got user manuals from the first internet, 1991 or something, or we've got washing machine instructions. Probably now.
Might be worth checking out if they are, you know.
Oh, we'd love that. He would love that. Would be like, no, I wouldn't tell him just for that reason. So go on, tell us. That's a really good point. So tell us about the things that, because books are a good one. I've got loads there, and I'm a nightmare for. I do everything online. So what should be the things that we ask ourselves when it comes to hundreds of books that are around the house, and we're thinking, I want to make some space.
Yeah. So some of the things you need to think about is, when was the last time you picked it up? Are you ever going to read it again? Are you holding on to it for some particular reason? I.e., does it hold a sentimental, value to you of some description? Now that could be, for instance, if you've got, your old children's books from when you were a kid, and you want to read them to your kids, and you want to pass them down the line. Are these books that you've got on there as well? So things like that. And if you do have stuff like sentimental books, the question is, do they need to be out on show, or are you keeping them to get, to pass on to someone at a later stage? In which case, they don't need to be on your bookshelves. They need to be in a box that's labelled sentimental books to go to so-and-so, so that you know who they're going to, and they're stored out of the way and they're not on site. So it's things like that. I mean, it's funny because through lockdown, I set up a declutter and organise challenge group. Because I was worried because obviously I wasn't going to be able to get on site with a lot of my clients, and I was worried about people being stuck in their homes literally 24/7.
Yep.
And where something is a small issue, it becomes massive when you're constantly surrounded by it. So it could just be somebody that was, they've got a pretty organized house, and their paperwork's piling up and it's driving them nuts. And the problem with lockdown as well is, obviously, for those people that have got kids, most of their time is spent now sort of devoted to the kids and keeping the kids entertained. You don't have time to do the housework like you normally would, to go out and do your own work like you normally would, and things have massively changed. So I thought, right, well, I need to set up a group that would allow people to give them 20 minutes. That's all it is. These challenges are only 20 minutes long, and for a reason, because I didn't want people having to spend hours and hours and hours starting a challenge and getting halfway through it and going, I give up, I'm not doing this anymore. Because it's too much. And so they're really simple challenges, and they're only small, and they should take no more than 20 minutes maximum. And so I set that up, and I'm on, I think, challenge number 16. And I've done books recently. I did adult books, and I've just done, the last one was children's books. So on there, it sort of gives you, I do a little video, it says what the challenge is, gives you a few tips in there of how to deal with it. And then I post a little challenge book, well, not a book, just a post up as well. So people that can't read it or listen to the video can just quickly read it and access it. And it's doing really well. I've got about 200 members on there now, which is lovely. And a lot of people are doing the challenges. It's really great to see. And we're getting the befores and afters, and it's just, you can see how it's making people feel about things. And it really does benefit them. It's just, they're, not everybody is getting involved with the challenges. Some people are just sitting and watching, but that's fine. The point is that it's there as an available tool for people if they really feel like they need a kick up the bum, or just some support, just to help them, give them an idea of what they can focus on next if they're really struggling. But now, obviously, the tips and the charity shops are starting to open up, which is brilliant. So that means that we're able to start doing bigger declutters, which is really exciting.
Yeah. I think the fact I think it's a brilliant idea for a challenge and a challenge group. And I think the third benefit to that for me would be, I can get rid of a load of crap from this house and say, a lady at work told me to do it, so I've got to.
Well, if you want
not actually my fault,
Kate, that's absolutely fine.
That's what I was thinking, to be honest, because those instruction manuals for washing machines from 1997, surrounded by university notes, he's 40 in 2 weeks. It's not going to make a difference, all these university notes.
It's the sentimental value. That's the only reason he's probably keeping it. It really is. So he needs to work out why, and he has to come to the conclusion that actually there's a reason as to whether he really needs to keep it or not moving forward. If it had some real value in it, and it wasn't just like notes and a few essays here and there, you can always he can always scan the essays in and put them onto a little USB drive, and then he's got them there, hasn't he? So
we're a house full of technology, yet when it comes to certain things, and I'm worried that off the back of this, I'm going to go more frustrated at the stuff. So actually, maybe I need to, take a deep breath and not try and get too focused on those university notes and whatnot. So what does the future hold then for sorted? All sorted in terms of what's next for you?
I'm getting back out there, thankfully. I'm not out there yet, but I will be very soon. And I've been doing virtual consultations and declutter sessions. See, virtual declutter sessions doesn't sound right, does it? It sounds really weird because I'm not actually physically in a room moving things, but I am there supporting somebody to help them do it and talk them through. It's more of a coaching session, I suppose, really. So I'll still be doing those, and I'll still be offering those to people if they don't feel comfortable about having somebody in their home just yet. So that's perfectly fine. But yeah, I'm getting back out there, and I'm working with clients again. I've got some clients that are desperate to get me back in, which is really lovely to hear.
Where do you live? Where are you?
So I'm in Stockport. So I'm in Devonport, but I cover Greater Manchester and Cheshire, and obviously the world if we're talking virtually. So so it's really exciting. I'm itching to get back out. I'm so itching to get back out. I mean, I spent the whole of this lockdown rearranging my whole house. Literally, I was like, right, I need a project. What am I going to do? So we moved the boys. This room that's now my office used to be the boys' bedroom. So I've kicked them out. They've gone into what was our old bedroom. We've moved in temporarily into the spare room because we were just before this lockdown. We were planning to go up into the loft, and obviously went to create an extra room. So that's not happened. But I just said to my husband, I was like, enough's enough. I can't sit in their playroom as my half an office and have them playing around me for the next 3 months. It's just not going to happen. So so they now have a nice big playroom. I have a nice office that I can call my own, and now I'm done with that. So I'm ready to get on with other people's houses.
So people are either going to start letting you in or getting on Zoom with you.
Yeah, or FaceTime or WhatsApp, whichever works for them. Yeah, hopefully.
So I am gonna go and look at what the room we've created over there. So it's one of the kids' bedrooms, bunk beds, and we've kind of put a makeshift wardrobe in as we've knocked down everything on the other side of the house. And I might just, when Poppy's asleep, rearrange the wardrobe. Just like feel a bit more in control of it. Yeah, I do.
That's what you want. You want the excitement of, I mean, it's funny because I speak to a lot of clients. They call me up and say, I'm really desperate to get someone in. It's been, I really need some help for whatever reason. And I get there, and the first things guaranteed, the first thing that they say, the first one will be, I've had a bit of a tidy up. I hope you don't mind. And it's like, you don't need to do that for me because I don't care what your house looks like. I'm here to help you. That's the whole point. And actually, it always gets messier before it gets better anyway. So there's no point in tidying up because it's all going to come back out again. And it's like, and also the other thing is that people get really nervous. They get really nervous about what's going to happen because they worry that I'm going to go in there and just say, right, that's got to go, that's got to go, that's got to go, that's got to move to there, that's got to go up there, and then, you're done. And that's not how I work at all. It's very much based on what your needs are. So if you said to me, well, actually, I need a new space in there, a better space for my wardrobe, what do you reckon? I'll be like, okay, well, how do you use your wardrobe currently, and where are all your clothes, and what do you need to put in there? And you need to look at how you're setting out the space so that you can use it and you've got access to everything easily. Because otherwise, there's no point in building, especially if you're going to do built-in wardrobes. Built-in wardrobes are really difficult because you can't change them very easily once they're in. So you have to be very clear from the start of exactly what you need for your wardrobe and how you want it to work before you then go ahead and get one built. So it's things like looking at, you hang. Do you have more stuff that you hang than having on shelves?
Yeah.
How many drawers do you really need? You know, because are you going to be just putting in what you're putting in them? Are you just putting in your underwear and your socks, or are you putting in your t-shirts and everything else as well? So it's really about just looking at the space and what you need before you make those decisions, and just getting. Sometimes you just need a second opinion or an idea from a third party that's not seen that space before, so they can just sort of come in and go, yeah, this is a great room. I like this space. Have you thought about putting it here instead of over here? And you'd be like, no, I hadn't. Yeah. And that would actually work better for me. So, you know.
When we knocked down, it must have been week 1 or 2 of lockdown, and we knocked out
our... Just to let you know.
Top up. I'm out. I'm done. I'm done.
Yeah.
We knocked out everything in our master bedroom and the ensuite and everything. So it's now just one. It's big, one huge space. And the conversation about where the wardrobes go, where the ensuite goes, where the bed goes, where the sliding doors go, like the whole thing. And my brain, you know, I'm enjoying knocking walls down and stuff, but my brain is going, I don't know. And then Sam's saying,
like the deconstruction, you just don't like.
I do. I really do like the that's more than you know. I promise you. More than you should see the garden. More than you know. And yeah, the conversation about the built-in wardrobe is absolutely on point. You know, Sam was saying, well, how do you want to use the drawers? And I'm like, could you just tell me? Because I don't really mind. I just want it to look nice and be accessible. And I don't know any more than
that. So have you come to a decision? No.
No, it's the budget on hold. We're doing the patio instead.
Fair enough. Do you know what? If that's your outdoor space though, and you need it as an outdoor room, then yeah, we always wanted. We moved into this house six years ago. It's a house. It's an old house. Needs a lot of work doing to it, and we moved in and thought, yeah, the first thing we're going to do is rip out this kitchen, and we're going to, you know, that'll be the first thing. 6 years down the line, we've done the garden, we've done the living room, we've redone all of the windows in the house, we put a new roof on it, we've done all the electrics. We haven't touched the kitchen, and it's the one place that drives us nuts. But when we had the choice to go garden or kitchen, we went garden, because the garden was a death trap, and it was like that is another room in itself. And if we can turn that into a space that we can utilize, we can live with the kitchen for now. You know, it's like it drives us both potty, but it's fine. It's fine. We've got plans for that. That's okay.
Yeah, exactly.
we know it's coming. It's coming. Might not be in the next 10 years, but it will be there at some point.
That's it. You can't do everything all at once. We are
on a
constant journey here. There's a lot to do. But talking of a lot to do, I better go and put my children in bed, because I left them watching the stories that the teachers had recorded and read to them, but only one of them's interested. So is there talk back on this?
No.
Just you. It's just me. It's just my ears. What's your website, Sian? So what can I put on here?
Yeah, it's all-sorted.co.uk.
Sorted.co.uk.
Yeah.
Fab. And if people want to speak to you, best thing to do, go onto your website. Any contact detail, all your contact details and all that malarkey on there.
All contact details are on there. You can catch me on Facebook. I'm always on Facebook, so that's Home and Office Sorted. And then on Instagram, I am sorted. And just to confuse everybody. And then
I am sorted.
Yeah. And then where else can you get me? That's it. But if you wanted to, I'll drop a link down to the Declutter and Organise Challenge group as well. So if anybody wanted to jump on there, and they can just look back at all of the challenges that we've done so far, because they're all there, and you can just do whatever you want. Then it'd be great to have everybody on board.
Yeah, super. That would be super useful.
Awesome.
All right. Well, happy Thursday.
Thanks.
Cheers, my dear.
Cheers.
And I will thank you everyone for joining us, and I will speak to you soon.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Olive. I'll end it on that comment there. All right. See you later, Sian. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.